That's it for the big boxing news. But we got who you got this week? So this weekend, outside of the world of boxing, we have a big UFC pay-per-view. UFC 241, Cormier versus Miocic 2. And when I look at this, I'm a big UFC guy. This card has probably two of the best pure boxers in the sport of the UFC, with Stipe Miocic in the headline and then Nate Diaz in the co-main event. And we saw Conor make the move over to MMA. And
boxing from MMA.
Yeah, make the move over from boxing to MMA. And that was, first off, against the GOAT. Second off, Conor isn't the best pure boxer. He does have an MMA. It's very MMA, the way he strikes. But that being said, who you got as the best boxer in the UFC?
This one, for me, is a hands down by a lot kind of argument.
Okay.
And I don't think it's the person people would think of first when you say, who's the best boxer in the UFC? But Holly Holm is a 20-something time boxing world champion. And it's not like I'm saying James Toney, who went in and lost one fight. This was the bantamweight champion of the UFC when she knocked out Ronda Rousey with a high kick. She was a highly decorated kickboxer, highly decorated boxer, moved on to the UFC, got the belt. And if you can't say, if Holly Holm isn't the answer to this question, you know, I like the Diaz brothers. And I'd love to see Garbrandt and Dillashaw in a boxing match.
Yeah.
That's a really good fight. But when you look at the numbers, I mean, this is Holly Holm. There's no categorical way to get her off the list. And she's the best boxer in the UFC, I think, hands down.
Yeah. Well, with Holly Holm, we have talked about it. Women's boxing is... It's not on the level that men's boxing is.
Generates less fanfare, yeah.
Yeah, and if you can become a UFC world champion, I wouldn't be surprised if they can step into the women's boxing world and do pretty damn well. Granted, Holly Holm is phenomenal. She is one of the greatest female boxers ever. But with that being said, I'm going to have... There are a lot of good boxers. Cody Garbrandt was 50-0 as an amateur.
Yeah.
Stipe Miocic, a Golden Glove winner, but I have to. I'm a Diaz guy. I have to go with Nate or Nick Diaz because when Diaz I see them, they do phenomenal stuff. They just put that pressure on you, and they just punch after punch, constant fist to the face.
And strictly, what you're watching as from a strictly a boxing standpoint, fundamentally what they're doing is really good boxing. Yeah. So I totally agree. I had Holly Holm, then the Diaz brothers. Yeah. And I'd love to see Garbrandt and Dillashaw. I think Garbrandt beat him.
The Diaz's are like what you saw with Manny Pacquiao, how he came in with those flurries against Thurman. But that constantly all throughout the round, just constant fists in your face. I think they would be phenomenal in the boxing world. And they are both big personalities. And they could be stars in boxing if they chose that. Yeah. And when it comes to the UFC, they keep putting fists to your face, and the reason why they're great at the UFC, you want to take them down. They're black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So they have it all covered with the UFC, but their boxing is on another level.
Definitely.